who thought maybe I'm tripping, maybe it's me just being mad at my family. I have no reason to be mad at my family. I had a great childhood, this and that, trying to psych yourself out. No, it was really that deep. Hi, my name is The Resilient PA, and I make relatable content as it relates to mental health. I consistently share my PA journey and all things psychiatry and mental health. I'm basically your mental health bestie that you didn't know you needed. And if that sounds like content you might be interested in, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications to be notified when I upload a new video and give y'all new content. Anywho, let's get into some definitions before we start off this conversation, okay? Eldest daughter syndrome is a term that describes the psychological and behavioral patterns that the oldest daughter exudes. No, it's not a medical diagnosis, and it's not a DSM-5 diagnosis, but it definitely should be. It is a social phenomenon that has been studied over the years, and more research is coming out, which we're going to get into that too later in the video. So being the oldest daughter, what does that mean? You have very high expectations put on you from your parents, very high expectations put on you from your younger siblings, and very high expectations put on yourself by yourself. You may feel the pressure to appear perfect and go after high achieving goals and actually achieve them, because out of all the siblings, the oldest is always the most successful, the most mature, the most resilient, the caregivers, the most helpful, and even mediators for their youngest siblings and their parents. But the flip side to that is also carrying the guilt, resentment, or anger they perceive as being unfair because of the roles and responsibility and the pressure put on you being the oldest child. Now, what prompted me to make this video is a psychologist on TikTok went viral not too long ago when she listed some characteristics that the oldest sibling has, and how, like, I went to that video on TikTok, how in the comments, all of you guys were commenting, talking about, oh, I can relate. Oh, let me tell you. Oh, matter of fact, let me give you my tea and how I was raised and how I grew up in a household where I did feel like it was unfair because more was expected out of me than my other siblings, and Lord knows my youngest could get away with murder. That TikTok reached over 5.5 million views. The psychologist's name was Katie Morton. But anywho, let me give you the characteristics she rattled off in that video. 1, you have an intense feeling of responsibility, which we just kind of went over. Number 2, you are an overachiever, okay? That one hit hard for me. You're very type A with a driven personality. You worry a lot and probably have anxiety. You struggle with people pleasing. But as a result of that, you have a hard time placing and upholding your boundaries. You resent your siblings and your family. You struggle with feelings of guilt. You have a difficult time in your adult relationships. So for those of you who didn't know, and for those of you who thought maybe I'm tripping, maybe it's me just being mad at my family, I have no reason to be mad at my family. I had a great childhood, this and that, trying to psych yourself out. No, it was really that deep. Now, here's the research part that I was telling you about earlier. Some research has been done called the birth order theory, and it describes the effects of birth order and how it can alter and shape a child's thoughts and behaviors. Now, they found throughout this research that the oldest child has the means to be diligent and seek to excel in everything that they do. In 2012, the study found the eldest born is most likely to uphold a leadership position. In 2014, research found out of all of their siblings, if any, the eldest is most likely to succeed. We already kind of went through this, but That's what researchers found out in 2012 and 2014. Now, coming up to the research that was recently done at UCLA, they found that the oldest sibling mature way quicker than their younger siblings, of course. Have you ever heard or have you ever been told, God, they're really mature for their age? Mommy's little helper, or wow, they're going to be a mini whatever your mother's name is. They studied their adrenal glands and how they go into maturation way quicker. Not necessarily monarchy, but how neurologically they develop quicker and ahead of time, way more than their counterparts or siblings, younger siblings, and how they measured the mother's anxiety, prenatal, perinatal, and postnatal. And nobody sees the emotional, mental toll that takes on the eldest child's health, and how in some ways your body can constantly be in a state of fight or flight. Oh, I have to be doing something, I have to be busy, I have to be achieving. My therapist kind of named this as the professional student. Okay, you're constantly in school, you're constantly achieving. After you've reached the height, and you can't go no further unless you go back to school for something else, then it's like, oh, what do? I have to be achieving something. I have to be doing something with my life. What am I doing? Something. And as a result, you feel like a failure because you're not doing this big thing. You're not achieving this big degree. You're not having this huge celebration for this big monumental achievement. You're just living life and somehow that's a failure. You see what I'm saying? Switching gears, and I kind of jumped the gun, but whatever. So how this plays on how we perceive the world and how the world perceives us and how we react to those perceptions. How you notice your childhood has shaped your work ethic, your relationships, and like I said just a few minutes ago, how you interact with the world and how the world interacts with you, how you perceive the world, threats, help, anything. As a result, the big thing that was glorified in my childhood is work. You got to go to work. You have to be successful. Everything outside of that, unless you're married and you have kids, you should be in the house. You should be keeping house. You should be cleaning. You should be vacuuming. You should be straightening up. You should be buying house decor and just spending all your time inside because none of this outside stuff matters, when I kind of sort of understand in a way, but you only get one life. And if you spend all your life inside the house, all your life keeping house and doing this and doing that, yes, you excel at that after a while, and you are the chief person in keeping your home in the up and up. But what about living life? Like, you'll never be this young again. You will never have this body again. You will never have this face again. You only get one life, and time is the most precious thing that you have. And if you let it pass you by, what will you have to show for it? Yes, your house was clean. Yes, you achieved a lot, but did you live life? Did you? If you are the oldest sibling, I would encourage you to go to therapy, because a lot of people look at therapy as you have to be in a detrimental place in order to seek therapy, but in all actuality, you don't. Like I tell my patients, going to therapy is like having a professional best friend, someone to talk to that can't tell your business due to HIPAA, but also someone trained in the patterns and the psychological effects of the oldest sibling and how it might have detriment on you or how it may be affecting you. And they can see things that you can't, and they have studied and they have went to school and they have gotten their degree in ways that you think you can make sense of, and you're thinking, oh, I would know if I need to go to therapy, but most of us are oblivious to it. And most of us don't know that we need the help that we need and how it really has played a role in our life, and going to therapy can make that clearer. One of the websites I use for therapy, and no, this is not sponsored. I tell all of my patients about this again because that's how I found my therapist, is psychologytoday.com. It's for the whole United States. You can go on Psychology Today, enter your zip code, and it pulls up everybody in that zip code area, their pictures, where they went to school. It gives you a little biography. Some of them you can book through the website or email directly through the website. I find that the most helpful. Others, they do leave a number or a direct number to their office, clinic, or whatever number it is to be able to reach them and get scheduled. You can also filter by insurance. If you don't have insurance, you can go to self-pay, check out the clinics and the therapists around you that accept sliding scale fee, so on and so on. There's no excuse in 2024 to not be in therapy. Even if you feel like you don't need it, I guarantee you, you have your evaluation with the therapist, the very first visit, the second visit. They map out what they want to do, how often they want to see you, and I guarantee you they will see something. There's always something you can improve on. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, even if this video doesn't relate to you, you can overcome it. You can reshape your perspective and start over, but this time for yourself. This time you're not doing it for anybody else but yourself, and you owe it to yourself. After putting everybody first over all these years, it's time for you to do something for you. Be proactive about things, because remember, I was telling y'all about time is the only thing we can't get back. Get things moving in the right direction you want it to move in, and take some time to think about the conversation we had today. But if you are to pursue this freedom that we talk about, and this being set free from the shackles of your childhood, what would that look like? That would look like listening to podcasts for self-improvement, reading books for self-improvement. There is one book that I rave about, and it's called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay something. It's a good book. I'll link it down below, but that really opened my eyes. That was the start of my healing journey. It can look like setting boundaries. It can definitely look like setting boundaries. And there's another book with a pencil on the cover called Boundaries. They have a whole series. I'll link that down below on Amazon. Consider redefining your life, journaling, what they call it, manifestation. Definitely just exercising your faith in that direction, knowing that you can reshape your life and it's never too late to start over. Of course, self-love, and again, therapy. Being an older child, if you're over the age of 21, you are not a child. And I know all you've known your whole life is to be a child, but it's time you start taking control of your life and redefining your adulthood. I hope that this video shed some validation and confirmation that yes, it really was that deep, and validation for your experience as being an older child. I may not have went over everybody's experience, but in some ways you can relate to this topic. And if you can, meet me down in the comments, start the conversation by telling me, what did you get from this video? And if you feel seen, heard, and validated, because that was the whole point of this video. I thank you in advance for commenting down in the comments and having this conversation with me. I really, really want to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.